Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of Live Fully. I'm excited to be with you. For those of you who are brand new to this mini episode that we do just about twice a month on Wednesdays around noon 30 Eastern Time, I'm Naketa Thigpen. I'm a balance and relationship advisor for power couples and married women entrepreneurs, as well as a few bold leaders. All of the people in my ecosystem are ready to own their right to recalibrate and be more intentionally selfish. Why? Because they deserve it. Period. Point blank. Today, I have an incredible, I know I like to dance. I'm very silly. Get with it. Incredible woman and my new friend, Theresa Lear Levine. She is the go-to and the expert for all things EFT, and we will talk about what that is in a moment. Theresa, welcome to Live Fully today.
Hey, Naketa, thank you so much for having me. This is so much fun to be together again. We've gotten to spend a lot of time together in this last week, and I feel like today is like the last time we get to do something together for a little while. I'm getting a little bit getting a little attached here.
Oh, thank you. Look, I look forward to it. So these are the on-air conversations, and we just have the off-air tea that nobody else gets to participate in.
Yeah.
That's all right. So, Theresa, tell everyone just a little bit about what you do globally, and then we'll dive into how identifying your blockages are helped and assisted by having EFT in your life as one of your modalities of support.
Sure. So, I mean, I help mostly women, but kind of like you, there's a few brave, bold men also to work through whatever's holding them back in their life. Usually, it's kind of like a balance thing between work and
Mhm.
family. I'm an EFT master practitioner. That stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and that's just one of many modalities that I weave together into this really strategic blend that balances things out and helps people to feel better, perform better, show up better, get through blockages, traumas, anxiety, distractions, overwhelm, all that stuff that tends to
Yeah.
muck things up for us. And I help women all around the world to do that. And I have, private sessions, I have group programs, all sorts of things. And I just love helping people to step into their power because the techniques that
Yeah.
I do choose to use when I help people are super empowering.
Mhm. Yeah, they really are. So, a little fast forward giveaway here, and Teresa will talk more about it towards the end of this. During our recording, and there's no hidden secret, the BBP, which is the Balance Bully podcast, is always pre recorded. We record just about all the episodes for the year, typically before the middle of the year even hits. And I'm grateful for that. But it all gets batched because that's how we balance boldly over here, making sure we take care of everything. And you and I recently recorded your July 20th episode. So we'll air on July 20th. It was a phenomenal conversation on air. And after we ended it, you gave me an opportunity to experience 10 minutes of EFT with you. And you really did help me with a resistance I didn't even know I had until you cued me with a couple of questions, right? Like, well, what's going on with you? Because obviously the way it works the best if people are honest and
Sure.
strong enough to be vulnerable, to be clear with you what's going on. And you helped me go from something that was bothering me at roughly a 7.5 out of 10 in terms of discomfort, all the way down to a 0 in less than 10 minutes.
It was pretty amazing, I gotta say. But
It
the
was
shift that
incredible.
happened in you.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I can't take all the credit. Like, I know I've done a lot of personal development work and all the things, which definitely helped clear the way for me to really receive the information and the modality and the energy clearing that you were able to do. But I know you help people all over the world with the same thing, that they're just like I was in the very, very beginning. I wasn't sure where my blockages were, and you helped me identify them like that. How is EFT helping people identify the blocks that they didn't even know that they had as it's disrupting their work, their life, maybe their love, all the way through?
Yeah. Well, it's sometimes so funny that we can't see like what's right in front of our nose, isn't it? And even if we are, seemingly conscious and, educated and
Yeah.
understanding of our emotional and,
Mhm.
spiritual and physical body and all of that, it still can be kind of a shock to us when we realize what's going on. And EFT, which is also known as tapping,
Mhm.
can really help to just peel back layers. So it's okay if you don't know like where you're going because of where you're starting. So
Yeah.
maybe you start and you think that you're really resistant to this change that's getting ready to happen with your job, which is kind of like what happened with you last week when we were doing the
Mhm.
tapping session. And and then here's where I go away from that because I'll just kind of imagine some things that didn't happen.
Mhm.
But you think it's about the job, and then you tap and you notice something coming up for you that maybe brings another aspect forward.
Yeah.
So when you do tapping, you're normally like you said, you started off at a 7 using subjective units of distress. So you're rating kind of like what's going on and how
Mhm.
stressful it is to you. And then when you're done, you're rating it again. Well, if it's anything other than a 0, which miraculously you arrived at very quickly last week, maybe if it's a 2, 3, 4, you got to kind of say, hey, well, what's that 4 made up of? Like, what is that that's left? If I'm still holding on to something, what's the thing that I'm still having that resistance to, or that stress about, or the bothersome feelings or emotions? And you kind of lean into thinking about that a little bit and see what comes up. And then that's the next thing that you would work on. And then see kind of what happens on the scale there. Maybe you go from a 4 to a 2. Well,
Yeah.
what makes up that part of it that's still left? And that's kind of how you get to where you're going. You don't necessarily have to know what's blocking you in
Mhm.
order to begin on and create a path to get to the root of the problem and have a much different reality perception and ability to be in the present moment than you did before.
No, I really appreciate that because I'm thinking about so many clients and, power partners and people that we just have righteously connected to
Sure.
that will adamantly say, I don't do woo, right? I don't do woo. I don't do woo woo. And EFT is not woo, but because it has energy in the
Right.
title, people immediately just, classify it in that area. Now, the
Right.
reality is, for those of us who are extremely woo, we know the woo works if you work it.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment and there's no blaming or shaming. But for those people who are distant from it and can't really accept it, a lot of the things they'll say is like, well, I don't even know where to start. So how is that going to work for me? So the fact that you're talking about the breadcrumbs
Right.
that are kind of laid out by them just being open to start the process, to be
Absolutely.
willing to do it. Yeah.
I mean, and EFT is scientifically based and it's
Mhm.
logical and it's rational, and you don't have to believe in it for it to work,
Right.
but you do have to be willing enough to at least try it.
Yeah.
And then you can start seeing how those shifts appear in your life. And I know I've worked with a lot of people that are like you're talking about, they don't want to do the woo woo stuff. They want to just kind of stick to, what's the one thing I need to do here that's going to shift this or whatever. And I
Right.
can do that. I don't think it's as much fun, honestly, but
Mhm. Mhm.
I find that when people start making progress, they're more willing to open up a little bit, to
Yeah.
experiment, and to not be so hard on themselves about coming to conclusions and shifting. Like we don't make anything better when we like are kind of like beating ourselves up about it as we try to fix it.
Right.
And you can have a lot of fun bringing in a little bit more of a lighthearted side. I mean, I have so much fun like ranting through EFT rounds and just like cursing up a storm or just being like petty and nonsensical. Imagination is really fun to bring into it. I mean,
Mhm.
like when you're pissed off about something and then you get to like actually imagine what you would have liked to have done while tapping, and you actually get to like change the way you're processing it and feel so much better without ever having like thrown a punch or done the thing that like you
Mhm.
might have wanted to do. It's
Yes.
life changing. It's amazing. So, I mean, you had to have a little fun with the not so straight laced part of it, I think.
No, I really appreciate that. So I'm thinking of someone in particular who we all know that when you're constantly going through your phone and you're checking off things, they're like little micro dopamine hits, right?
Yeah.
But when you do that and you're supposed to be with your family, participating in family time, or you're supposed to be with your forever lover, participating in intimate time. I'm not talking about the sexual intimate time because if you have your phone out for that, we need to talk. Like that's a whole different conversation. But just, we said we would do date night. We're here at the restaurant. We're looking around. We have nice elbow room in space. And up, my forever lover pulled out his phone. And oh no, babe, give me a second. And he's checking and he puts it away and he pulls it out and he's checking again. And before you know it, he's checked that phone so many times that you're about to throw one of those wine glasses at him. We're not, because we work with Theresa Lear Levine and we know that we can tap our way through this process. But what's something that we could give for our forever lover, him or her, that seems to get their dopamine hits and their distraction fulfilled through technology, because we know that that's a big interrupter. It can be very, very helpful, and we're grateful for it. We want our technology to work really well right now while we're here. But we also know that it can be a huge problem for couples. What suggestion would you give for the novice who says, I'm so not woo? I get that EFT is science based, but I don't think it'll work for me because at the end of the day, even if it's not work related, I just like checking my phone and that's just what it is. But I do want to make my forever lover happy too. Is there anything that that person can do to pull themselves
Yeah.
out of distraction?
I mean, there's something under there that's really specific, but they don't know what it is yet, and
Mhm,
that's okay. Neither do I until I
mhm.
would explore that with them. But I
Yeah.
mean, you can start with something as simple as, setting up an EFT round, which we're not going to go into here today, but I will give you guys a resource. Maybe setting up the round with, even though I don't feel like changing this habit that I have, even though it's causing my forever lover distress and
Yeah.
I really don't even like the outcome of it. I love, accept, and forgive myself. Setting up with something like that, or even though I'm really resistant to this change. I don't want to do it. You can't make me do it. I'm not going to change. I
Mhm.
honor those feelings and accept myself anyway. And as you just kind of work through that resistance, like what does that resistance feel like to you? Like as you're tapping the different points, maybe it's like, I just feel so compelled to pick up this phone. I can't help myself. I'm
Mhm.
impulsive.
Mhm.
I'm, addicted to this technology. I just want that dopamine hit. Maybe it starts off with, you look up the QR code for the restaurant menu, and then all of a sudden, because damn it, they put those everywhere, and then you have to pick up the freaking phone
We
because
definitely do.
it's and you don't even want to, but it starts off with that, and then all of a sudden you hop over to another tab that was open, and you're doing something else. Even though I'm getting distracted here, like I really am open to the idea that maybe it doesn't have to be this way or something, and just kind of exploring the feelings and what comes up for you when it happens. Maybe even what you really like about it. That's where I would say to get started. And
Yeah.
then you're gonna find some big stuff coming up.
No, I love that you said a term that's specific to your modality of expertise. You said setting up the round. And I know that you did that a lot with me, which everyone who's here who will get the link to that amazing gift. It was such a gift. Thank you. And it's visual, it's video, so you can
Yeah.
literally see her walking me through all the points and tapping. I was about to go like this.
We can tap on that
Right,
too.
like we can totally tap on that. But
That would be first chakra, tribal, religious-based stuff to work on. But another
I don't know why I
coincidentally.
did that. That was just like automatic autopilot. But as you walk me through, you can literally see Theresa walking me through all of the points to do the clearing. And she set up the rounds and asked the questions to get to the clearing. But what does that mean for someone that's brand new to EFT? What does it mean to set up a round, to set yourself up?
It means to basically state the intention for how you're going to spend the next few minutes going through this process.
Mhm.
So, the setup starts usually, there's a few different places. We're not going to get technical today. We'll just say the side of the hand. We call it the karate chop point. We're just kind of
Mhm.
tapping there lightly and we're stating the intention. So it could be like what I just talked about, or it could be, even though I have this awful headache right now,
Mhm.
or even though my kids are driving me crazy, or even though I really want another job and I hate this one, or whatever it might be. I love, accept, and forgive myself. There's variations, millions of them. And what I love about EFT is there's really no wrong way to do it, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of like more effective ways to do it.
Mhm.
You can't screw it up. You can't hurt yourself. You can't make it worse.
Mhm.
You're just setting it up. You're stating the main intention, the main challenge, fear, phobia, problem,
Mhm.
feeling that you want to change. That's how you're setting it up.
I love this. I feel connected to that statement. You can't hurt yourself by giving yourself an opportunity to do this. Like there's only one constant in the world, and that's change. And
Yep.
giving yourself an opportunity to change in the way that you want to change versus feeling pulled through the fires of the day. And she was very clear before we got started. I was like, oh my God, there's little fires everywhere. I felt like I was in a Hulu micro episode of that show. Like there were literally little fires everywhere. But the fact that you can do this to calm yourself, I know you've been very vocal about how high functioning anxiety. We know that there's a lot of other neurodivergence with ADHD, autism
Mhm.
spectrum disorder, and all of it. And tapping has been proven to be able to help people find their grounding, to keep it as simple as possible with
Yeah.
that so they could recalibrate.
Yeah, it's like at the very least, it can do that. I mean, we're talking about a modality that can actually change our genetics. So, I mean,
Mhm.
at the very least, it can help you feel better, get a little bit more grounded and everything else. And at the very most, it can completely resolve things that you never thought you could possibly change ever.
So incredible. And you are an incredible practitioner and teacher because I
Oh,
learned a lot in our mini micro episode and it felt really good. Like I knew immediately while you were doing it where the switch was happening. I felt the switch when it was happening, probably roughly 2/3 through the process.
that's awesome.
So I
That says
encourage,
a lot about your own consciousness and the work that you've done already that you can
yeah.
put your finger on it that quickly. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I hope that all of you listening to this, whether live or on replay, absolutely do the one thing that you need, which is go follow Theresa. Theresa, where can they get your information?
Well, first and foremost, I'll tell you where to get that round so that you guys can try tapping. So, even though the episode has not come out yet for Balance Boldly, and you're going to want to come back and watch that later, just shoot me an email, Theresa
Mhm.
at theresalearlevine.com. Put Balance Boldly podcast in the subject, and I will send you that tapping round so that you can watch it. And then I'll send you another message when the episode comes out so that you can make sure that you listen to it and get all the backstory. But there's no reason that you can't enjoy the episode and do the tapping with us now.
Yeah.
And then I would also say, if you're somebody that feels like this kind of work is like where you're drawn to be and what you think would really help you through whatever it is that you're going through, past traumas, ADHD of your own, anxiety, overwhelm, whatever, I just try my website, which is gamechangingconversation.com, and hop on a quick call with me. I'm really good at figuring out like who this is for and who it's not for, and also giving you like some killer advice in a very short call over like where you might want to pinpoint your attention and get started. So just a super valuable way to figure out like, is this the right modality? I know for me, as soon as I realized that I didn't have to worry about all the other modalities in my toolbox and that this was the one, it was
Mhm.
such a relaxing thing for me to be able to like put that down. And even though I still meditate and I visualize and I love affirmations and I love hypnotherapy and binaural beats and different all sorts
Yes.
of things, love
Mhm.
all of it, still use all of it. I don't feel that same pressure to get it right all the time or to use just the right combination of things because I know that this tool that I kind of lead with and use at the heart of everything, it's good for everything. So if that can help you too, then, let's chat. Find me there. And of course, I'm on Instagram, Theresa Lear Levine.
Listen, this is how we live fully. We
And
come
I got to
out of our
say,
Mhm,
next week, Naketa's
mhm.
episode of my podcast is coming out. So you guys already know and love her. So you want to get some more of that. It was a great, great episode.
Thank you.
My podcast is Becoming More Me.
Mhm.
And you can also find that at becomingmoreme.com. But that will be launching on my birthday, which is next Thursday, and the 26th. And you can get more of her. We did a whole bunch of, redefining selfishness and cultivating intimacy and peace in relationships. And you will not want to miss it.
I love this. I told you I'm taking you on the road with me. We keep saying that. I love how you love on me, and I love how giving you are. You give so generously. You guys will hear that again when you hear the BBP, which is the Balance Bully podcast. You'll hear how much Theresa is giving of herself through her story, the strength and her vulnerability. And she does absolutely give you multiple gifts, including the link to that 10-minute EFT micro episode with me. She gives even more. So I won't give it away, but she definitely gives you more gifts in there. So
Well, it's just a
gather all the
mirror of all you
gifts.
offer too, Naketa, because you're extremely giving and you love on me so much also, and I appreciate it so very much. We can
Thank
see that
you.
light in each other.
Yeah, this is reciprocity in action, to say it the least. You've been such a joy. Thank you for letting me borrow you from your family and the labs
Happy to
again
be on loan.
today. You're like, this was so needed. I needed this 15 minutes. Thank you. But I really do appreciate you carving out more time. We honor you and we hold space for you anytime that you want to come back to BBP or Live Philly. You are absolutely welcome.
Thanks, Naketa.
All right, guys. So we will see you on the other side. This was going to be in the featured section. I can't talk today of LinkedIn. So if you're looking for this, if you were listening and then you lost your place, go over to Naketa Thigpen LinkedIn, the personal profile page, right to the feature section, and it will be right at the top. You can come back anytime. I will see you soon. Enjoy the balance of your day, but remember to do it boldly.